Good morning. Good morning. I am excited about today, and I am always excited when I don't know what to expect. I enjoy surprises in the virtual world. That's even more fun, actually. I would like everybody, if possible, to turn on their cameras, if possible. If possible, good morning. Turn on your camera, if possible. Good morning. Say what's up in the chat. Say what's up. Let me know you're alive. Let me know you're awake. Let me know it's real. Let me know the energy is up. It's Friday. I see some cameras turning on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Good morning. It's Friday. I need all the energy. I need all the smiles. Like I said, didn't know what to expect, but I like that part. And I was definitely knowing it was going to be an awesome surprise. I said, I don't know what to expect here, Alverno, but I do know it's going to be an awesome surprise. So let's get it started. Let's buckle our seatbelts. Let's put on our crazy caps. And we're going to think too, but we're going to go get crazy a little bit. All right. In a good way. Man, this is great. I'm glad to be here with you all. Oh, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad you where you at. So we get to do it this way. All right. Everybody's happy. Everybody's safe and sound. My name is Fidel. I am one of the co-executive directors at True School. We're going to get into what True School is all about. We're going to talk about a little bit of what we do. But most importantly, we're here to talk about the impact and the power of hip hop culture. And I'm excited. Again, we talk and we teach about the power in this culture all over, university level, academia, all the way to elementary school, and anything you can imagine in between, from 8 to 80, as we say. We go into classrooms, we go into community organizations, we go in a lot of places talking about the power of this thing, this energy, this movement, this social phenomenon called hip hop culture. What is it? Why is it? What is it? Why is it? Why are we having this discussion on a virtual conference with Alverno in 2021? I thought everybody knew what hip hop was, Fidel. It's only like world renowned, $billion industry, being studied by the professors of all the world. The scientists are trying to figure out how this thing spreads so fast, how to become so influential. How? It's just a baby. It just got here. It just got here. We're going to talk about it. All right. We're going to talk about the impact and the power from our vantage point, from our seat at True School. Okay. How many of you all heard of True School? Drop a 7 in the chat if you heard of True School. Drop a 7 in the chat if you heard of True. I didn't say shake your head. If you didn't hear about it, that's okay. That's okay. But if you did, drop a 7 in the chat. If you didn't, I don't want to hear about it. All right. I don't want to hear about it. If you didn't hear about us, you've been under a rock, and that's not my fault. All right. But we're going to talk about that. So I got no 7s in the chat. This is lit. This is lit, as my students say. This is lit. All right. I enjoy this. I enjoy this. This is a great introduction. What's up, Cheryl? How you doing? Kevin, what's good? Joseph, how you doing? Seth, how are we? Janelle, Dominique, what up? Amy, how are you? Vanessa, Khadijah, I can't see you. It's all right, though. Ruby, peace. I see you, Ruby, but I don't see you, but I see you. I know you're here. All right. If y'all hear Ruby and Khadijah, if y'all hear, just drop a 9 in the chat. If you here with me, Ruby and Khadijah. Boom, she said hello. Drop a 9. Boom, pow. All right, bam. Can I get a 9? Khadijah, pow. All right, we here. Y'all turn on y'all mic. Y'all can get my attention. This is an interactive discussion and conversation. I'm obviously a master of ceremonies. I'm obviously very used to being in front of people, on stages, engaging. All right, so just the virtual thing doesn't interrupt that for me. It doesn't. It doesn't interrupt at all. I feel like I can just high five you, Joseph, right now. I feel like we could just high five, pow. All right. It's amazing. High five, Kevin. I'm glad to be here with you all. It's a lot of information I want to share and go through, but I also want to talk to you all. I also want to learn from you all. I also want to ask questions from you all. So I appreciate your engagement, interaction as much as possible. I want to know that you're here. I want to know that you're really interested in this conversation. I want to know what you bring into the conversation. And I want to start it that way. Okay. I don't know what people's positions or professions may be. If any educators are here, just drop a 0 in the chat. Any educators, any teachers, professors, any educators, drop a 0 in the chat. Seth, I love your energy too. I love your energy too. All right. We have some educators. Okay, I see. I didn't know, but I said, okay, we're dealing with Alverno. This might be some educators. So now, I'm just asking if any of my educators on the line want to just chime in right quick. Chime in and help me understand why this is important to you now, today. Why is it important to you to be in this? You could have chose any track in this virtual conversation, this virtual dialogue. It's a lot of great topics on the list for the breakout rooms. Why hip hop? Why is this important to you? Why are you here? One of the educators, somebody just speak up.
Hip hop is around the world. I teach students from all over the world, and they like hip hop, and there are wonderful words. And my son uses hip hop in his music, so I want to learn more.
Awesome. So you teach all around the world. What do you teach, Cheryl?
I teach English as a second language.
Ah, and mighty hip hop in that area is, they know the lyrics to all the songs.
Not yet.
A lot of them. So anybody else? Why hip hop? Why is this conversation important to you as an educator? Kevin.
I'm here actually. I'm a historian, and I teach courses in 21st century history. Although we don't teach the future, we teach the past. But I'm also somebody who really likes music of all kind. I used to, way back in the day, I was a college radio station music director. So
I thought you were going to say you was a break dancer, Kevin. I thought you
were no, I was never a break dancer.
Kevin, I thought you was going to say you used to do the headspin. Kevin.
My wife would be very upset if I danced right now on Zoom. But I'm very interested in the influence of hip hop culture on both the past and also contemporary society. So
I appreciate that. I love what you said about the future and the history. All right, we're going to talk a little about why that's important in hip hop culture. I told you, it's just a baby. It just got here. It's just a baby. So trust me, the past is important. Our grandparents who raised us are important. And the future is the only thing we think. That's where we at. Hip hop is in the future. Anybody else want to chime in?
So I grew up around hip hop, but it's still so relevant. And being in the education department, I want to be able to support my future teachers in using hip hop and understanding hip hop in order to build those relationships with their students and really understand where their students are coming from and the reality that their students are living.
So you're an educator of educators. You make the world go round, Seth. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. You make everything possible, Seth. We appreciate all the educators on the call, on the line, in the building. Just don't even worry about the context, people. It's virtual. Who cares? All right. I don't know where you at. You don't know where I'm at. Because what? Look, you don't even know where I'm at. You don't even know what I'm doing. You have no idea. And it's okay. It's a new reality. All right. But this is the fun thing about this reality. We get to communicate with people from all over, from all walks of life. And in hip hop specifically, it's a very, very interactive environment. It's very much about what you bring to the conversation, what you bring to the cipher, as we say. What do you bring to the cipher? Like, what's your element? What's your style? What's your personality? Who are you? You can't come to the cipher standing too close to the next person and trying to get their sauce and get their style. It's all about who you are. It's all about what you bring. So in this expression, in this exercise, in this fun, we're just gonna have a little bit today, because like I always think like how fast an hour go past, but I also think of how rich an hour could be. I also think of like how much could happen within an hour. And sometimes for me, that only happens with all of us sharing. So at any point in time, don't feel like you just have to listen to me and stare at a screen and do what you've been doing for a whole year on Zoom calls. You don't have to do that. It's different. All right. This is totally different. If you want to unmute, you can. All right. If you want to just go crazy in the chat, like my 6-year-old son in his class, like they do on the chat, you can do that too. It's okay. You can let it out. All right. This is hip hop. No rules. None. Only except the ones we make. All right. Now listen, we're going to go into a brief presentation, like a slideshow. And again, at any point, questions, comments, concern, I appreciate it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself as an artist, creative, as a father, as a maker. Grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Anybody from Milwaukee? Drop an M in the chat if you're from Milwaukee. Drop an M in the chat. Bombs, horns. Drop a M in the chat if you're from the 414. It's okay if you're not. It's okay if you're not. It's all right. All right, we got a few Milwaukeeans in here. And I don't know, Milwaukee is a fun environment and a very distinct place to grow up. I've traveled a lot because of hip hop, actually been able to travel at a young age and always been able to compare what this middle America, what this Midwest energy is like compared to other places. In hip hop, early 80s, New York, LA, we were hearing these different worlds that were nothing like our world in here in little bitty Brew City, Milwaukee, but this prominence of this culture that was undeniable. And some of you were around, all of you were around during that time. And guess what? You saw this thing vibrating and something was happening. It was catching on fast. Some people said, oh, this will be gone in 10 years. This is just a fad. Some of those little people in the ghetto are doing this. This will be over just like everything else they do. It'll be over in 10 years. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Don't get scared. It'll be over. Don't get scared. Nope. Then it started to stick around. Then politicians and other people start paying attention, like, what the hell's going on? Then big business and corporate America said, oh, what the hell's going on? Yeah, it's something popping down there. And I think we can do something with this. And then it became something really big and out of control and saturated and super commercialized. And then people said, hold on, we have to at least take the reins back on what we're doing here. It's like being a teenager or even a preteen, and you realize, hold on, we got to start thinking about what we're doing here because we actually have something. So we're going to talk about this timeline and how it goes. And I love the fact that there are so many educators on the line today because, and Seth, you said it, I had these conversations with educators all the time to be able to take the information back to educators, but we look at our students as scholars. We look at our students as future scholars, as present scholars. They're the experts in their own experience. So to give them the true knowledge that we're about to dip into a little bit today is only to give them tools and to give them armor, to give them order, to help prepare them for the steps that they have coming towards them in life, okay? And hip hop did that in a relentless, bold, unapologetic way for an entire generation of people when it first came to be. And now we're seeing what the remnants of that looks like. Now we're seeing it undeniably in every aspect of popular culture. You can't go anywhere in the world. You can't get off no airplane and not see graffiti art and not find freestyle rappers and not find break dancers. You can't go nowhere in no department store and not find the trace of what we call hip hop. No high school, no college, you can't go anywhere. It's just it's in the fabric of who we are and what we're doing today, and not only America, but to Cheryl's point, all over the world. Okay, and is anybody outside of Wisconsin? If you're outside of Wisconsin, just drop it in the chat where you at. If anybody's outside of Wisconsin, okay. So we're all somewhat local. Hip hop is a very hyper local culture. Okay, Charlotte in the building. St. Paul in the building, virtually. I love it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we talking a little bit wider now. See, we zoom out a little bit. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. Now, I think that oftentimes going into these conversations, I want to be clear. I am a representative of hip hop. You know how they be like, oh, I can't speak for all white people. You know how y'all say that? Or I can't speak for all men, or I can't speak for all whatever, okay? So, you have to do that disclaimer first. I can't speak for everybody. I am an authority, because in hip hop, we assume our own authority, but by no means is True School the authority or the only authority, by no means. Again, we're a baby in it. When you think about anthropology, we're a baby in that sense, okay? And so when we're talking about where this comes from, our job is still to study the architects and the pioneers that are still here today. So Kevin, we don't have to go into the annals of history and look in the libraries and find 150 million years ago where they're still alive and breathing today. They're still telling their story, the people who created it. And now it's a worldwide phenomenon on every TV show and every radio and every box of cereal and everything. Yeah, it's everywhere now. But just a couple 40 years ago, this thing was just in a very small pocket of our entire planet. So just in a small period of time, we're talking about a blink. All right. So just to give it a little bit of context of that. And now I'm gonna start my presentation. I know they're like, when is he gonna start the slideshow? Shut the fuck up. All right, here we go. All right. All right. I'm gonna create my little share for you all. And we're gonna go into it. We're gonna get into it. Everybody good? All right. I'm good too. I'm actually at True School. We are the Center for Hip Hop Culture and Transformational Arts in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We located downtown, right in the heart of the city. All right. That's me and DJ Kool Herc. He's known as the father of hip hop. He's a Caribbean immigrant, came to the Bronx, New York in the back in the days, and he brought his culture with him. He brought his clothes with him. He brought his attitude with him. But you know what else? He brought his music with him from the Caribbean. And we all know what the music sounds like in the Caribbean. We all know the vibes. We all know the vibes. Some of us have been out there. Some of us wish we were out there right now, soaking up the vibes. Stop playing. Stop playing. Yep. I see y'all shaking your heads. Yep. It's getting real. I know it's getting real. Now, most of hip hop's history is so well documented in such a rich way. I'm not going to get into the history part of it. I'm not going to dissect the history because I want y'all to go do your homework. And it's so much research, so many documentaries, so many studies have been done, dissertations. It's just insane how much research has been done on this movement. What I want to talk about is just some of the other energy behind the elements that make up the movement. Now, what does that mean? The true knowledge that we're talking about ultimately is a knowledge of self, a reflection of saying, who the hell am I? Who the hell are you? What is your purpose? The true knowledge is the knowledge of who you are, your purpose. Now that goes to that old saying of everybody's born for a reason. Everybody's here for a reason. Most of us understand that we have some sort of purpose and we're on a mission, or else we wouldn't be here right now. No, you wouldn't even signed on today if you weren't one of those people. So I'm clear I'm talking to those people today. That true knowledge is, what is that about? Hip hop, in a very special way, reminded young people at a time to seek knowledge and purpose. We're going to talk about it. All right. I want you to look up DJ Kool Herc. He can walk past you right now in the halls, on the streets. You might not know who he is. They don't chase him in the limo like Michael Jackson around the world, but he is known as starting one of the most influential cultures that the planet has ever seen. He's still here. He's still breathing. He's still rocking parties. He's still DJing. And he's still telling the history and the original story of how it all started. Well, let's talk about how did it all start. If anybody knows or can guess or thinks they know or think they can guess, what are the 5 core elements of hip hop culture? 5 core elements. You can drop them in the chat or you can turn on your mic. We've done this question in so many instances in schools all over the country. Some of you all might know this answer, and it's okay if you do. You know 2 of them, you know 1 of them. This is our GPS for today. What are the 5 elements of hip hop culture? Somebody help me out. Oh, they in it, they on it. MCing, DJing, breaking, boom, boom, boom. Freestyling, graffiti, okay, Vonique. Beats, representation, location, where you from? Big deal. Rhythm, okay.
You're close.
Interesting. We all over it. Vanessa says social media. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Now, the 5 elements, the core elements that we go from at True School, that we use as our framework at True School, they're all there. They're all there in no particular order. We don't necessarily line them up in an order. You have your DJ, who we call kind of the core of the culture. You know, he kind of, you know, you all go to events and there's music playing. If the music sucks, you want to leave. Period. The music creates the energy. That DJ is playing the music while the B-boys and B-girls, those breakers, break dancers, as some people call them, that's one of the other elements. The DJ's playing the beats for the B-boys and B-girls. Definitions, self-definitions are so important in hip hop. They call themselves B-boys. They call themselves breakers. If you walk up and say, hey, break dancer, they might really be offended. They don't call themselves break dancers. And they don't like when other people call them break dancers. They call themselves breakers or B-boys or B-girls. Now, where did the B come from? The B comes from the break beat. Before they were hip hop records, the DJs would throw on the disco records. They would throw on the Sly and the Family Stone records, the James Brown records, before they were hip hop records. And guess what James Brown did? He said, get a drummer some, and there'll be a certain point where there'll be a break. Boom. And it would just be the beat. And that DJ took that beat and he would bring it back on 2 turntables. And he would go on 2 records, he would bring back like an 8-second loop on vinyl. Okay, this had never been done before in history. All right, there've been a lot of dope stuff done on the planet before, but did nobody tear up turntables and needles. Matter of fact, Grandmaster Flash, also Caribbean descent, invented what's today known as the crossfader. That you see the DJs, they have a mixer and there's a button. One goes from the left and one goes to the right, and they're able to switch the music back and forth. Grandmaster Flash invented the crossfader from a light switch. He wanted to figure out how to go to the left, to the right, play one record, then drop the other record, go to this beat, go to that beat. And he needed a quick way to cross the signal. And he did it with a light switch. And now it's on every major console of any DJ in the world. Invented it, something out of nothing. Genius. DJ. Mashups are great, yes. And mashups also come from that Caribbean tradition. Kool Herc brought a sound system. He used to ride through the city. All this is documented. Don't believe nothing I say today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't believe nothing I tell you. Go look it up and say, you know, Fidel was kind of crazy. I think he might have had too many cups of coffee today. I don't know. He was trying to kind of talking crazy. I don't know. He might have just been, you know, you know how those hip hop guys are. They got great imaginations. I don't know. They got great imaginations. We have to. However, the DJ, the core of the culture, doing it for the B-boys and B-girls, the break boys, break girls. The break in the record is when the break dancers got a chance to shine. All right, this was way early. Now, while that was happening, there were people doing artwork in the back, and that was a particular form of artwork, graffiti art, as somebody put in the chat. Now you can see that in art galleries all over the world. Now you can see that in commercial media celebrated like you never seen before. However, that wasn't always the case. We're not talking about vandalism. We make that distinction very clear with our students as well. We're not talking about if I'm here and somebody spray painting on my garage at home. That's not what we're talking about. That's vandalism. That's illegal. And we should not do that, boys and girls. You can get in trouble. We're talking about art at a scale that was able to move through the city and move through the boroughs in a way that folks had never seen before. All right. Now it's an industry. It's a huge industry. We're talking from the aerosol paint to you name it. Huge industry. Now, we're talking DJing, B-boys and B-girls, graffiti artists, and then somebody had to pick up that microphone to control the crowd. Somebody had to pick up that microphone to get people excited. Somebody had to pick up that microphone and say, what are y'all doing in here? All the ugly people be quiet. Somebody had to pick up that microphone and say, where the pretty girls at? All right, where the fellas with more than $5 in their pocket? Make some noise. Somebody had to do that, all right? That started out as the MC, the mic controller, the master of ceremonies, the person who moved the crowd. That wasn't the rapper. That wasn't the guy who did the rap, the bars, the verse, the hook, kept blah, blah, blah. Not that. Just somebody who could introduce the DJ and set the vibe for the night and get the crowd going. And then it turned into, wait, I can do that better than you. I can get them going better than you. And then they would go back and forth. And then they developed the rhymes and the rhythms that would lead into the crowd chants. And then you had a rap style developing. They didn't invent it, of course. Because why? Because they're the children of the last poets. How many heard of the last poets? Drop a L in the chat if you ever heard of the last poets. See, that's the important part about history. We all come from different places, so we all may not have the same information. However, we can share. We can share, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you know what else I forgot to say? Because I try to share this with my students as well. If you can get information, because it's the Google era, I expect everybody to know everything. I just expect everybody to know everything. You don't know, you better be looking it up right now. Like, boom. So drop it in the chat, put a link in there. If anything you looking up while I'm talking, or you think anything is reference or anything is interesting, that's part of the exchange as well. Just drop it in the chat. You might have already looked up Cool Herc. You might have already looked up Grandmaster Flash. I know I'm dropping names. I'm dropping information. If you're looking up anything, you think somebody, just drop it in the chat, okay? Appreciate that. One of the things we also like to just mention, you know, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay. So we're at the graffiti artists, DJs, B-boys, B-girls, MC. It's your 4 core elements. Knowledge will be our 5th element. That's the glue to everything. We can't have great DJs or great MCs or great breakers if they don't have the knowledge. The knowledge to be able to do these things. That's the glue to keep it all together. Now, why is this important? Again, this is a culture that these different elements now stand alone. Think about it. Breakdancing. This is about to be in the Olympics in 2004. Breaking is about to be in the Olympics. Who knew that? Who knew that? You didn't know that, Seth? You knew that, Cheryl? Boom, y'all tapped in. Breaking. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, listen, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how long the Olympics been around, but I can tell you what, breaking just got here, and this is about to be in the Olympics, and this is freaking huge. All right. Some of the break dancers don't like it. I'm sure you can imagine why. All right, because they feel like once everybody else get a hold of their stuff, then it's a wrap. Okay, so that's just the nature of hip hop. It's kind of exclusive. So now the world is about to get it, and we don't know what they're gonna do with it. We don't know, but we have to see. All right, it might get crazy the first time, but all right, sidebar. Graffiti, it's a world of its own. It's a art world of its own. MCing, rapping, it's a thing in its own. You turn on the TV, you turn on the radio, you can't avoid it. Most people associate hip hop with just rap, like it's a rapper. Hip hop, they're rap guys, the guys that rap. That's hip hop to them. I'm giving you the whole perspective. I'm giving you the panoramic. It's not just a rapper with a microphone and a gold chain. There's a whole thing that goes along with it. The DJs, of course, you all know that's a $1 billion industry, the biggest DJs in the world. You also know some of them by name. Guess what? DJing is so big, they don't even need a rapper these days. The DJ can just be a superstar all by himself, and he's just DJ so-and-so, and he's traveling the world, and it's a thing by itself. It's a world of its own, okay? All of the elements can stand alone by themselves. In less than 50 years, they all standing up and they all generating a whole world of their own. Now, how does that relate to leadership maybe? As I talk to educators mostly, I talk about these elements in terms of leadership, in terms of like knowing your role. As we talked about self-determination, we talked about knowledge of self, saying like, okay, what's your role? You the DJ, you the rapper, you the break dancer, what's your role? What's your expertise? What are you bringing to the cipher? All these different elements, we attribute these to different styles of leadership. And we talk to young people about what do you have to do to be a DJ? What kind of information, what kind of mindset you have to be a B-boy, and discipline and focus and drive. And that's leadership tactics, that's leadership quality. So we translate a lot of these elements into leadership, whether it's academic, education, whether it's personal development. It's about leadership and self-determination, okay? Now, KRS-One said, what you talking about, Fidel? It's 9 elements. It's 9 elements. It ain't just 5. I don't know if any of you all know who that guy is on the screen. He's known as the blast master. He's known as the teacher. Hip hop has a whole Bible. There's a book called The Gospel of Hip Hop. It's as big as the Bible. It's heavier than the Bible. And that man right there wrote it. He's known as the teacher. His name is KRS-One. Definition super important in hip hop. His name is an acronym. Acronyms all over the world, but in hip hop, hey, that's part of the definitions. It's It's very important. K-R-S-O-N-E. Anybody know what that means? Anybody know what that stands for? Anybody know what that gentleman is known for bringing to the cipher? You can just drop it in the chat if you know what the acronym stands for. K-R-S-O-N-E. I don't know if you're Googling it right now. I don't know. K-R-S-O-N-E. He said there are 9 elements, and you see them on the screen. Our 5 are in there, but he also has other elements, obvious things that are part of the culture. Why is that important? Because we talk from the lens of, again, a holistic culture that has eldership, has founders, architects that actually are still living and breathing with us. Boom, Seth dropped it. Seth is an A+ student today. All right. Knowledge reigning supreme over nearly everybody. So if you ever want some really good intellectual stimulation, maybe a little ratchetness as well, you can listen to some KRS-One and get your day started. Get it pumped up. He has a new, I don't have no problem plugging this guy. I've talked to him, I've interviewed him, I've studied him. All right. He has a short film documentary style that was released recently with his latest project. It's online. It's called Streetlights, or The Streetlight, something to that effect. You YouTube it, you'll find it. He walks into this and he goes way deep. He goes deep dive. He's known as the philosopher. He is a philosopher. All right. I could do a whole 2 hours on this guy alone. All right. But again, don't believe me. Don't believe me. There's sources out there. All right. What you see here, big on the screen. This is the one of the recorded as, known as, archived as the first hip hop promo ever, the first hip hop party ever. That's the door. Can you get that? DJ Kool Herc threw a back to school birthday jam for his big sister Cindy. August 11th, 1973. All around the world, ladies and gentlemen, that's the birthday to hip hop culture. The most phenomenal, powerful, influential phenomenon on the planet today. It's the birthday. We got a birthday. We got a person. We got a location. That's big in history, right, Kevin? That's big. I mean, that's crazy. We got somebody still breathing and alive right now in the flesh. A location where he lived, that the building, I'm not sure if it's still there, but I know there was a fight to preserve it. And I know if some of y'all looked that up, that building may have got torn down. I'm not sure. But for years, they were doing tours. You could take a tour and go to New York, and you could go to this building right here on Sedgwick Avenue. You can go to that building, take a whole bus, and learn about the history and what happened in that rec room when they threw that first party. Phenomenal stuff. 25 cents, ladies. That's all. Just a quarter. Get in. Boom. What? Fellas, y'all got to pay 50 cents, though. Amazing. Amazing. Boom. Before hip hop, there's a whole thing called the civil rights movement, whole thing internationally known as the human rights movement. A whole rebellion in social order had taken place. It's still taking place. And on the heels of the assassinations of Dr. King and Malcolm X and so many others that we could name we could just name names for a whole hour of the people that was taken away, whether they was killed, whether they were in prison, based on political ideology and beliefs, and based on them wanting to have self-determination about their identity and about their communities. We're going to determine what justice looks like. We're not going to just take what's given to us. It was the generation that preceded what happened in the 1970s with hip hop. It's undeniable. So when we're talking about hip hop history, whoa, again, we're talking about a baby. So we have to think, all right, what does a baby get? A baby gets everything from their parents, their uncles, their family, their environment. It's real. So when you listen to hip hop, you listen to blues, you listen to jazz, you listen to gospel, you listen to rock and roll, you listen to all these things, because in hip hop, what do we do? It's called what? It's called what? What do we do? What do we do? Somebody tell me, what do we do? We sample. That's right, Joseph. In hip hop, we sample. We brought that to the planet. Who was doing that before hip hop? I don't know. Of course, okay, they was remaking songs. They was remaking songs. All right, we didn't invent the remake. All right, guys, the remix maybe, but I don't know. All right, who was doing remixes before hip hop? Did they call it remixes before hip hop? Some of y'all are older than me. I'm just saying. Was there a thing called a remix before? Somebody Google that. When was the remix invented? Like the term, like where? I think we might have something else under our belt. I don't know. We might have invented the remix. I don't know. All right. Thinking about where we came from, you listen to early hip hop, you will find, most of you already know, politically charged rap, politically charged poetry, culturally charged rebellious messages about the realities of things that were happening in society, social commentary at a highest level. Remix started in the 60s. Thank you, Seth. Boom. Social commentary at the highest level. We was saying motherfuck this and motherfuck that and fuck the police and fuck this shit in a way that nobody ever heard it before. From the mouths that it was being spewed from, everybody said, wait, whoa. Who gave them permission to talk like that? Hold on. Who gave them the microphone and the stage to talk in that way? And they're talking about us. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. People got a little nervous because it started to spread like wildfire. You know why? In Jamaica. So it do come back to hip hop. So, you know, another reason why the nervousness of everything that was happening, the culture was rapidly spreading. You know why? You go back to the elements. You know why? Because young kids in disenfranchised, impoverished, however you want to say it, we'll talk about it, in these communities, they didn't have dance classes and dance schools. They didn't have music programs and music schools. They didn't have art programs and with fancy art supplies and art programs. So a lot of the early innovators will use the bare essentials and make something out of nothing. It's a very, you know, it's not even legend. It's just very well-known fact. Breakers and B-boys and B-girls used to carry around cardboard to dance on, and they would break out their cardboard. We got linoleum that you would buy at Home Depot for your kitchen. We got that at True School to this day that the breakdancers break on. We don't have a dance floor. We can't afford a dance floor, ladies and gentlemen, but we do what the B-boys do. And we still have some of the best B-boys in the planet. Linoleum, cardboard. Some of the artists that could not afford paint and spray paint, they would use shoe polish. And they would rig the shoe polish thing and fix it, and so they could do their tags real big. Innovation. It's where the beatboxing, the idea of the beatbox. The beatbox is a worldwide, that's gonna be in the Olympics one day, boy. The way they compete with, the way they do competition with beatboxes worldwide, this is a thing. So if I don't have a machine, a drum machine, if I don't have speakers, if I just beating on the table and I'm making beats with my mouth and I'm kicking poetry, and next thing you know, somebody is dancing, next thing you know, somebody is in a and that's how this thing spread, because it's the rawest form of human expression. It just doesn't take equipment. It doesn't take everything to be in place. It's making something out of nothing. It is defining phenomenon, as the good Reverend Dr. Huey P. once said, and making that social phenomenon act in a desired manner. We didn't invent music, disco and the R&B and the funk and the jazz. All of that was already a social phenomenon. Hip hop just sampled and said, we just gonna go back, get a little bit of the good stuff, and we're gonna create something else with it, and then put a rap on it, put a hard beat on it, and we'll see what we can do. All right. None of us ever heard of True School. That's okay. That's okay, ladies and gentlemen. That's all right. We all got homework to do. We got homework to do. True School is a true school, ladies and gentlemen. We've been here in Milwaukee for going on 16 years. It's a nonprofit organization that is serving primarily high school age students and young adults. So students come to us typically in the after school setting. We do multimedia and transformational art classes. And then we have a cohort of alumni that once they age out of high school, graduate, age out of the program, we're able to still work with them for other creative opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, to create that ecosystem and that pipeline of talent right here in Milwaukee. All right, because if hip hop can be $1 billion rolling over organization in the world, then we understand the impact it could have economically, locally as well. We're talking entrepreneurialism and education. All right, that's what we do at True School.
A recent report published by the After School Alliance found a 70% drop in juvenile crime from 2 to 6 p.m. over the past 2 decades, thanks in large part to a corresponding increase in the number of after-school activities. There are a number of successful after-school programs here in the Milwaukee area, including one that, as Shirley Discorbass shows us, taps into the potential of young people with activities that bring out their creative side.
1, 2, 3.
From breakdancing to DJing class, this isn't the average after-school program. In this space, young people are allowed to be themselves and find their creative voice.
The kind of things that make life hard disappear when you walk in this door. So the idea that when you walk into this space, that there's a certain sense of acceptance, of love.
For 15 years, the nonprofit organization True School has been empowering Milwaukee area high school age students. Co-executive director Shalina Ali.
And using the arts to help them develop skills, get excited about education again, and then connecting them to entrepreneurship and really exploring like what the future for them looks like in Milwaukee.
1, 2, 3, 4.
However, True School puts a spin on things, educating through hip-hop culture citywide. Students here might learn how to scratch on the turntable or make a new beat for a song.
We're pulling students from the north side and the south side, and then all over the city. But I will say majority of our young people really come from the heart of the communities that feel like there's something missing, whether what's missing is arts or what's missing is a community that is safe and uplifting.
Co-executive director Fidel Verdin instructs the Art of MC class here at its downtown center.
So that's where the writers, the storytellers, the poets, spoken word artists, the rappers, really get to digest some real life issues that they come into the door with from family, from school, from community, from home.
During the workshop, students share their own stories. It can get heavy, real, and raw.
A lot of real conversations that really I just help to guide. I let them create the content and talk about the different thoughts and ideas that matter to them and the things that they want to address through their songs, through their poetry.
But they also have a lot of fun.
Hip-hop is about self-definition and self-determination at its core. And so the arts itself are a means of expression. It's a means of really disrupting what's going on in the world, what's going on in society.
True School also offers classes on the visual arts, focused on drawing, designing, and painting.
It is something that teaches empathy, it teaches problem solving, it's something that allows a person, when they're creating art, to really explore the areas of themselves that sometimes we're afraid to explore, but in a really safe way. It develops confidence.
Ali says it's about building community.
Everybody working at True School is really from the community. And so that within itself is a success story. We're so intertwined, not just within our work here at True School, but our work outside of True School.
Once a week on what's called True Knowledge Wednesdays, they forget the skills and just talk.
We talk about mental health and wellness, and that's an individual aspect. And then we talk about what the support systems look like in Milwaukee. So what are the networks outside of True School that a young person could tap into that could actually help advance their ideas and their dreams and their goals?
We are intentionally paying attention to the emotional wellness of the young people by having a certain expectation of the environment itself.
The organization hopes to inspire the next generation of adults.
There's this consistency of positivity, and there's this aha moment for a young person where they're like, whoa, I actually see my future.
True School also wants them to find their path, whether that's through picking up a brush, reciting a poem, or writing a song.
Boom. So that's a little bit more about who we are and what we do. Guys, gals, that's a little bit about it. I am glad that I got a chance to share a little bit about us. Now I'm just give a commercial. Why not? That's the most hip hop thing I could do. All right. We have sweatshirts, ladies and gentlemen. We got t-shirts, ladies and gentlemen. We have a podcast. And right now we are doing a special with Dead Bird Brewing, deadbirdbrewing.com. We collaborated and created our very own True Knowledge Citrus Peace. It's a healthy, soft drink, spritzer, non-alcoholic, Tastes great. It had a hint of jasmine tea, and it is mandarin orange, delicious. You can order it on the site and pick it up in Milwaukee. You need a reason to come to Milwaukee anyways, for all of y'all that's not here. And Dead Bird Brewing is a local brewery that reached out to us because they wanted to support the work we're doing. But get this, one of the people that one of the people that work at Dead Bird now is an Irish dancer, and they work with our break dancers and b-boys in the past to do an Irish dance hip hop mashup. And the young lady Celeste said, you know what, I'm going to reach back because I love the way y'all work and I love what y'all do in the community. So now she's working with True Dead Bird, and she wanted to do a fundraiser for us. So all the proceeds of this beverage will go back to support our mission. So if you get a chance, Dead Bird Brewing, you could get our merch on our website. And we're doing a community cleanup this Saturday for Earth Month celebration. And you see us over there in the corner doing our community cleanups. Our podcast and our music available on all the streaming platforms. Wherever you find your podcast, just search for True School Podcast, and you probably could find us and get more insight from the youth voice, the community voice, and all that good stuff. All right, one more thing. I gotta show y'all this. I gotta show y'all this because I could tell you anything in the world, but I think this is a great representation of everything I've been talking about. This is not it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, pretend like that never happened. That didn't never happen. All right. It never happened because I don't know how to happen. All right. There's something I want you to help me out with in the chat. Seth, you've been killing it in the chat. Can you help me out? It's a film called Rumble Kings. Rumble, like rumble in the jungle. Rumble Kings. I'm giving y'all mad homework. This documentary, Rumble Kings, OMG. Just watch it this weekend. Just set aside maybe an hour and a half to check it out this weekend. What's up, little man? He's like, who is that guy over there going crazy? What's up? What's up, little man? How you doing?
Good.
Cool. What's your name?
Gavin.
Gavin? Gavin, I'm Fidel. Nice to meet you. We're over here just talking about hip hop, you know, just having fun, peace, love, unity, breakdance, and all that fun stuff. You know, that's it. Nothing major. Your dad's pretty cool. Nothing special. He's just cool. He's just a cool hip hop dad. That's all. That's it. Yep. So Rumble Kings is a film you can watch. The soundtrack is amazing. The energy is crazy. It's from like way before my time. It's the documentary of literally the environment in the South Bronx and what was happening that created hip hop culture. Hip hop is not like a thing that you could pick up. It's an energy. And so they would show you exactly what was going on in the Bronx in the early 70s that built to this level where this energy was created. And the only thing that could break through of it was something that could change the world, and it's hip hop. OMG, I wanted to show y'all that clip so bad. However, it won't happen today. Any questions so far? Y'all been letting me just talk. Any questions or comments so far? Put them in the chat or let me hear you. What's up, Shamika? What's up, Carly?
Hello.
What's happening? I see a couple new people joined us. Well, you know, y'all probably been here for a long time, but I've been in my zone. So, okay. Now, did I say anything that makes sense? Or was I telling any stories? I don't know. I don't know. Y'all doing Google searches, but was I going too far? Did I not go far enough? Y'all want to go deeper, I can tell. They like really still with me. Julie, they want to go deeper. Might be a part 2 in order. I don't know. Well, I invite each and every one of you to True School. The link was dropped in the chat. We are downtown in what used to be known as the Grand Ave. It's called the Ave now, across the street from the Pabst. And I invite you all to our space to come and learn more about us. Come take a tour, learn more about how you can get involved, maybe how you can volunteer and offer to support some of these young people, some of these young creatives, some of these geniuses and what they're doing. I think that's super important. It's so many entry points, and we also always just want to keep that invitation open. All right, and that's also where you can support the organization through merch, through donations, through that site right there as well. And I just want to know, are any artists on the line? Any artists, visual artists, dancers, singers, musicians? Who's an artist on the line? Just drop it in the chat. What's your art? And don't you be shy, because I'm not gonna put you on the spot. You will not have to sing. Don't worry. All right, who's an artist or anything close to creative on the line? Anybody? Violin. Wow. Violinist on the line. Okay. Haha. Once a dancer, always a dancer. Okay. Physical artwork. Artists. Any other artists, any other creators, any form of creativity? Poets, clay, sculpting. See how that goes, Julie? All this talent in the room. See all this talent? We could be making something right now. This will usually happen in our space. We'll end up like going into the zone and then we'll like create something together. So maybe that could happen when y'all come to True School. Scrapbooking, singing, all these talents. See, now I want y'all to share. Now I want to know more. Now I'm totally interested. Wow. Thank you all for sharing your gifts a little bit, sharing your gifts. Please complete the evaluation, ladies and gentlemen, before you leave. And, be nice to me. If that's a part of the evaluation, I don't know. Yeah, I think this kind of concludes everything. You know what I mean? If there's any questions, comments, or concerns, please, it's okay. I'm used to it. People throw stuff at me.
I'd like to make a comment, Fidel, and I'd like to know what you think of it. Occasionally, I go to Beijing, China, and you can go out on the streets at night and inevitably you come across young Chinese people doing breakdancing, listening to American music.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. It is quite the phenomenon. In most countries, the elements that I spoke of, the graffiti art, the breaking, the DJing, they're just as even more popular as what we see in America as like rap, commercial rap, the rap star, the rap guy. It's amazing. And I think that, again, it's just one of those things. They're on the streets dancing and they're validated. They're self-validated. They don't need any other, nobody needs to validate hip hop. So that's what the important part about it is, when you see young people expressing themselves in these ways, whether they're in, no matter where they're at in the world, no matter what their backgrounds are from, when they're expressing themselves in the ways, they're not looking for validation. They have the validation and they have the language to validate themselves. Because we're taught in hip hop, your world experience is only as big as your language, your vocabulary. Your world is only as big as your word power. If you ain't got a big vocabulary, your world gonna be small. So in hip hop, all of that definition and all of that communication is vital. And Daniel, I don't know if you got out on the dance floor with him. I don't know if you gave him a couple of dollars. I don't know how that go, but thank you for sharing. When people travel across the world, I tell them, bring me back some hip hop. Anywhere they go, I say, just bring me back some hip hop. And they always bring me back something, whether it's like a piece of clothing, a CD, something. They always find some hip hop, no matter where they go. Monique said, I just love that hip hop bucks against the status quo. There's no certification that makes you qualify, just what you bring. Absolutely. I mean, they're teaching about hip hop and Tupac and Jay-Z in Princeton and Harvard and Georgetown, and all your major academic universities right now are offering certified degrees and accolades that you could imagine based in hip hop. And we just got here a couple 40 years ago. So imagine 40 years from now. Imagine. You can do the research and learn more about, all these things we talked about, because again, it's well documented. The history of it is well documented because the architects are still amongst us and they're telling their stories very boldly. And I think it's amazing. And that's the root of it. Ultimately, that self-determination is bucking against the status quo, because the status quo is like all of us thinking the same, all of us having the same thoughts and being comfortable with that. That's quote unquote the status quo. All of us do not have the same thoughts. We do not come from the same place. We do not have the same experiences. So we should not be acting like we all got to fit into some sort of normalcy of boxes. And when it comes to creativity and ideas, hip hop doesn't do that. We said, fuck that. We busting out of all those normal boxes, or quote unquote, whatever y'all call them. Those not our boxes. We didn't make them up. We didn't define them. We didn't label them. So we're not getting in them. We're not getting in them. They're not ours. We out of there. We out of there. And we was out of there a long time ago. So, one of the fun parts about it is once you are awakened in that way, the world changes. And some of you all on this line, y'all know that the world changes once the wool gets pulled back, as they say, and you start coloring outside the lines a little bit, and you start saying, hey, I could talk to Kevin. It don't matter where we from. Kevin a B-boy like I'm a B-boy. You know what? Joseph get down like I get down. We don't care if he white and I'm black and he from the suburbs and I'm from the hood. We don't care about that. What you bring into the cipher, that's what we care about. Where your skills at, that's what we care about. That's why you go into hip hop. It's the most universal world you could ever find. People coming to True School and they're mind blown. Y'all seen the kids on the news clip? Those kids from everywhere, every background you can imagine, every nationality, every community, every neighborhood, every experience you can imagine. And that's what you're gonna see when you go to hip hop concerts. That's what you're gonna see when you go through authentic hip hop spaces. And why is that? Why did hip hop figure it out so fast and everybody else still fucking? Why is that? How did that happen? They'll be studying it for years and years and years to come. Way after we're long gone, they're gonna be like, damn, how did hip hop do that in like less than 50 years? How did they do that? How did they do that? Damn. And you can look at the spectrum of who's successful in quote unquote hip hop these days. And these kids are self-determined. They're not waiting on nothing or nobody or any validation or a record label or somebody to come save them or put them in the movie or none of that. All the top names that the kids today love in hip hop, they come from the something out of nothing motto. And they figured it out. And now they have computers in their pocket, something none of us grew up with. None of us grew up with computers in our pocket. The whole world is different. Everything has changed, flipped upside down. Forget about it. And hip hop is the soundtrack. Y'all see how excited I get about this? Y'all see how excited I get about this? Y'all know we don't turn it down for nothing. We turn down for nobody. I don't care who is gonna be on the screen when I turn it on. I don't care. We lit. All right, I want to introduce y'all to somebody before we sign out. All right, Julie, I got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. All right, cool. I want to introduce you all to one of our True School alumni. He walked in as soon as the Zoom started. I had to go answer the door as soon as the Zoom started. And I said, wow, who got that kind of timing? Only could be one of our students. And he's been here with me, sitting through this whole thing and observing it and soaking up the information, soaking up the true knowledge. He started out with us at what, 16? Mm-hmm. And now you're what, 20 something? 23. 16-year-old started out, went through the programming. Now he's a 23-year-old young man. And as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, we can't get rid of him. All right. We can't get rid of him. All right? Nor do we want to. So the beautiful part about it is they know this is home. You know, no matter what's going on out there in the world, they know they can come to True School, even unannounced at 11 in the morning on a Friday. They can come and just drop in if they need to and if they so choose to. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, this is Joshua Jenkins. And he's going to drop a little freestyle for you. So turn your speakers up, get your record buttons going. He's going to drop a little freestyle to show you a little bit of what we've been talking about in hip hop. All right. Y'all say what's up to Joshua.
Awesome. Hey guys, how's everyone doing? See, I'm rocking the brand right now. As Fidel said, I've started True School when I was 16 years old. And, you know, this was a great place for me to utilize the talents and gifts that God has given me, and being at True School, they amplified it. Me being an MC, me being a freestyler, and Fidel giving me the knowledge of, you know, how do I strengthen my metaphors? How do I strengthen my similes and things of that nature, becoming more of a direct, honest, meticulous MC. And I think the power of being an MC is having a voice. Having a voice is extremely imperative. Without your voice, you cannot get nothing across.
Okay, so look, I used to put him in a room with a bunch of other MCs, and I would say, look, y'all got 15 minutes. 15 minutes starting now. Pow, they had a topic, they had a writing prompt. They would write 2-3 pages worth of lyrics in 15 minutes and then get up and recite it like it was something they've been sitting on for 2 weeks. All right. And I talk to adults all the time about not underestimating the power of that. So when he's talking about that voice, we struggle with adults that don't have that ability to find their voice in a room, still scared to speak up. Still scared to speak up. Got all them accolades and titles and been through everything, but scared to speak up on their own voice. All right. So that's what he's talking about, finding that voice and writing it. If you can write and you can propose and you can speak up in your own voice, you can get anywhere in the world, as most of you already know. Now, how empowering is that for a 16-year-old if he get that? And he been writing and reciting and he ain't stopped since. All right. Let him hear some lyrics.
So with that being said, you know, and you know, my father, I gotta shout him out because having a black father in the household does you so much justice. I mean, he is so important. My father is a musician, a rapper, producer, singer, and he is extremely intelligent. He is an analytical thinker. And I say that to tie that in because, you know, my father told me if I really wanted to be great at MCing, that I had to study the greats and absorb the knowledge. So I did that. I studied Hove, Kanye West, Lil Wayne, T.I., Eminem. Eminem is like one of my favorite MCs other than Royce the 5'9". They both from Detroit.
Say the rap.
Oh, yeah. So I don't write none of my music, actually. Based on that knowledge, I just freestyle everything. I don't write my music. I have so much knowledge in my temple that I just freestyle. So I'm about to do this freestyle for you guys to see what you about. You guys ready? Y'all type in true for me. True school. That would be great. Okay, I'm seeing these names on this list here. So I'm gonna throw a bunch of names in this freestyle. Is that okay? Can I get a nod? Okay, awesome. So I'm seeing Cheryl, Kevin, Monique, Shamika, Daniel, Vanessa, Dominique, Amy, Joseph, Seth, Julie. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a couple of those names in this freestyle. All right. My name is Joshua. I'm in True School. I'm in a good mood. I see Kevin, Casey, and Cheryl. I'm like, what it do? All the things up on my mind, I reach in with an altitude. I rule the world longitude and latitude. A metaphor for you. I see Joseph with the glasses on, suited up, just chilling in his home. I feeling like I write my wrongs all the time. I sing another song. I see Julie with the glasses on. How you doing? So I've been doing things that be better, no competitor. And I see Seth over there chilling with the black skin and a couch in the back of the background. Whatever and how we get it down. Dominique with glasses on. Yes, we got a crack a smile. Running for the mile. And me running sort of like the Nile River. Shout out to Miss Moore. That's Shamika right there in the corner, left bottom. I'm right bottom there. I can't play it fair. This is shoot the dead. Look at Daniel. Sharp as on blue. I got it declared like it's declared war. I see the light up in the stores. I can't interfere with anybody wondering what it's for. Got Fidel and Shalina in my corner. So I'm going to do great. I'm going to be courageous and be great. That's the one I keep a pace. Matter of fact, they like the family. We relate. Boom.
Joshua, just go for hours if you let him. All right, just one of those wind up MCs. He would just keep going. You gotta bring him back in, bring him back down to earth. He just keep going. Yeah, you know. Again, scientists around the world are putting MCs like him on brain machines and studying their neurological triggers and how the hell they do that for hours. How they do that? They're igniting things in the brain that they only seen on like psychotropic trips. And the scientists is like, whoa, how are they doing that? And how are they able to do the syncopation and the rhythm and the storytelling and the memory and how do they do that? I'm not lying. Look it up. Look up scientists researching freestylers. It's incredible. All right. We're going to close it out like that, ladies and gentlemen. Please visit trueschool.org. And if you have any questions, you can reach out. I'm going to put my email directly in the chat as well. And feel free to reach out. I would love to communicate each one of you all individually. I would love to see how we can continue to build. I love to see how we can continue to have the conversation expanded and unpacked even further, especially to all my educators out there. Feel free to reach out and we can continue the dialogue. All right. Thank y'all. Any questions before I hit that leave button? All right, y'all hitting the leave button. Y'all beat me to it. Y'all about to leave. All right.
Thank you so much, Fidel.
Peace. Thank y'all. All right.
Thanks for the knowledge.